I picked up this dresser off Facebook Marketplace for $100 because I knew it had good bones to work with, despite the veneer damage. I removed all the hardware with my power screwdriver, and then I cleaned it with Cred Cutter and blew out all the dust bunnies with a leaf blower. To repair the chipped veneer, I mixed up my 2-part Bondo, taped off the areas, and then applied it. I'm pretty messy with this stuff and it dries rock hard, so this helps save me time on sanding it down. I sand the Bondo smooth with 120 grit sandpaper, and then I scuff the entire surface with 220 grit sandpaper. For any small nicks and dings, I use this Bondo spot putty because it's much easier to sand down. I like to pull out my Surf Prep sander anytime I know I'm going to scuff serve curves because the Pro Foam abrasive easily contours to the surface. I set up my Wagner pop-up spray tent to avoid getting any overspray in the garage. And I taped off these little metal details for later. This was my first time trying Wise Owl 1 Hour Enamel because I've heard so many great things about how durable it is. So I wanted to test it out for myself. But first you have to apply their stain blocking primer, which I ended up actually liking a lot. It sprayed really nicely, had good coverage, and it dried quickly so that I could sand it. The only downside was that it recommended I wait 4 hours before recoating it. But since the paint itself only has a 1 hour recoat time, I guess I can live with this. I will say that the first coat of this paint had really great coverage. I don't know if I just applied my paint too thick, but I'll say after 1 hour, when I went to scuff sand it, it didn't seem as dry as it could have been. But overall, after applying the second coat and doing a scratch test on this piece, I'm really impressed with the durability of this paint. Instead of drilling new hardware holes, I just apply some adjustable hardware to update the look of this piece. I always like to add finishing touches to my dressers by numbering them and then polishing the drawers. This is going to disguise any scuff marks to make the drawers look new and slide like new. It also smelled really good, so that's a perk. I used Rub and Buff to highlight these metal accents on the leg and make them match the hardware. And finally, the part that should be my favorite is actually my least favorite, staging furniture. I always just want to be done at this point, but it's so important that I take the time to get good photos of my piece so that I can list it for sale. My overall verdict of this paint is that I'll definitely be using it again. It's so important to have durable furniture when you're selling it to a customer. However, I don't think that I would recommend it to a beginner that doesn't know how to use a paint sprayer because you might have a difficult time getting the sheen to look perfect. Thanks for watching, and please hit that follow button.